Waves of destiny, captured.
Salt scorched the back of my throat as the sea devoured me whole. The pressure closed in from all sides, cold, immense, unforgiving. I thrashed upward, frantic, but Dax's grip clamped around my waist like iron, unrelenting, final. His other arm held Nhyira tight to his chest, too tight. Her tiny body was still, limp, as though frozen by fear, or worse. "No, Nhyira, no!" My mind shattered into jagged pieces. "He has her. God, please, don't let him hurt her." Her small frame crushed against him was all I could see, and the image burned itself into the back of my eyes. My lungs ached, my heart pounded in panic. This was all my fault. Kweku had warned me. And now, my vision blurred, the pressure in my chest rising like a scream trapped inside. This is it, I thought, as the blackness began to creep in. I'm going to die here. I'll never see my parents again, never see Kweku, never see the sun. I turned my face toward Nhyira in one final surge of will, violent, desperate. No, I couldn't let this happen, not to her. I reached for her, fought toward her with everything I had left. But Dax's chest rose like a wall between us, broad and immovable. I couldn't get to her. The effort tore the last of the air from my lungs. My chest clenched, tight, empty, collapsing inward as the pressure closed in. Spots danced across my vision. The world flickered, faded. No, no, please, not like this. My mind screamed, even as everything else slowed. I can't lose her. I can't. I didn't protect her. I reached with nothing left to give. I'm sorry. The thought barely held shape. Nhyira. No. Please. Then air. We broke the surface. A cave. Hidden. Still. The water here shimmered faintly below, licking at the base of the walls, stones slick with algae and silence. He hauled me up and dropped me onto a raised shelf, dry, solid, and cold. I collapsed, coughing until my chest threatened to crack. Water poured from my mouth, my nose, my clothes. My limbs trembled, useless beneath me. And then I felt it. A gaze. I turned, dazed and soaked, and saw him. Dax. Just his eyes above the water at first, watching, still, focused, unreadable. Then, slowly, so slowly, he rose. His chest broke the surface first. Water cascaded from his body as he rose. Nhyira surfaced with him, clutched firmly to his side. She whimpered and stretched her arms toward me, her tiny fingers trembling. "Give her to me," I cried, voice hoarse and broken. I scrambled to my knees, hands outstretched, heart pounding. "Please!" He didn't move. He only stared, at me, then at her, as though he were weighing something unseen. Then, in one fluid, terrifying motion, he rose from the water and moved onto the stone beside me, rivulets of water tracing the defined ridges of his body as they slid down his glistening skin. He straightened to his full height, carved from something ancient and relentless. He loomed over me like a force of nature, his muscles drawn tight with power and precision. Behind him, his massive tail unfurled and coiled with quiet menace. He eclipsed the light. His presence consumed the space. And then his gaze focused on me. There was something like amusement in his eyes, but it was bitter, fractured. "Why?" he said, voice low, mocking. "Why would I give her back, after waiting so long to bring you here?" His eyes swept over me, slow, deliberate, then darkened with something that struck like a blow. I flinched before I understood why. My arms folded around myself, heart pounding in my ears. There was something in the way he looked at me, unblinking, heavy, slow.
Nhyira cried again,
her tiny arms reaching desperately for me, her body writhing in his grip. I lunged forward without thinking, pure instinct, pure panic. But he moved faster. With a sudden, whip-like motion, his free hand caught my throat, slamming me back against the cave wall. My breath hitched, strangled beneath the pressure of his hold. The stone bit into my spine. but something in it didn't make sense. I wasn't dead. With the sheer speed and force he'd just unleashed, I should have been. His grip had been solid, unforgiving. I'd braced for much more pain, for the crack of bone against stone. But as he slammed me back, I felt it. His fingers at the back of my head steadying me, cushioning the blow. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. He had been careful. Why? My thoughts blurred as my legs nearly gave out beneath me. My body trembled violently, as if only now realizing I was still alive. I could still feel it, the flash of his movement, the raw force in his body, the violence that should have broken me. I had seen it in his face for a split second, rage like lightning caught mid-strike. But the killing blow never came. Instead, there had been restraint, precision. The icy air of the cave vanished, replaced by the unbearable heat radiating from him. He leaned in, closer than breath, his body blocking out everything else. Then, slowly, deliberately, he tilted my chin upward, forcing my eyes to meet his. And there they were, his eyes. Dark, endless, unblinking. They locked onto mine, and a chill rushed through me, sharp and immediate. They pierced into me, unraveling every breath I tried to catch. My lungs forgot how to fill. My body froze. He didn't speak. He only stared, and whatever was in his gaze, it wasn't hatred. It wasn't cruelty or vengeance or malice. There was no desire to break me, no twisted triumph. There was something worse, a kind of hunger, fierce, unhidden, sharp as a blade, pressed to the skin as his eyes flicked across my contours. "You will come to love me," he said softly, the words brushing over my lips like heat. He raised his thumb, gently, deliberately, tracing the curve of my cheek, then the edge of my jaw. Then, slow, reverent, his thumb grazed my lower lip. His gaze didn't soften. It burned, wild and unwavering, like fire clinging to dry grass. He looked entranced. No, possessed, like something had taken hold of him. I flinched, my breath catching as I tried to pull away. My arm twisted, my legs shifting beneath me, desperate to create distance. But his grip only tightened, firm, deliberate, as if letting go had never once crossed his mind. "Be still," he said. The words weren't loud, but they stopped me cold. They wrapped around my spine and held. Not a shout, not a plea, just certainty, quiet and immovable, like he already knew I would listen. "I am the son of the ocean's power. Its storm, its depth, its wrath," he said. And his voice wasn't just low, it was molten. A slow, deliberate slide of heat that curled around my spine, leaving a trail I couldn't escape. Each word caressed me with intention, lingering like a touch meant to claim. It was hunger wrapped in silk, dark, controlled, and devastating. "You cannot fight me, land dweller." His gaze didn't waver. He stared at me like he could see straight through my skin. "I could break you with my smallest finger. Your species is inferior." Then his voice cracked, just barely. Yet, why? His eyes searched mine, sharp and disoriented. "You're a riddle unraveling me from the inside." "Answer me," he demanded, moving even closer. His voice tightened, lower now, trembling with something volatile. "Answer me now. Tell me why." I parted my lips, but no words came. My breath caught in my throat, weak and useless. But he didn't wait. His hand rose again, gentler this time, fingertips grazing my cheek as if touching me cost him something. His eyes softened. The storm behind them did not. "You." His jaw clenched. His chest rose and fell like he was trying to cage something feral inside. "You should repulse me." But then his fingers stilled on my skin. "You make the ocean inside me twist. Burn." There was fury in it, barely leashed. But it wasn't hatred. It wasn't rage.
In all my 700 years beneath the tides, I thought I understood desire. I thought I could wield it like a blade. But then came you. You, new, forbidden, dangerously near, undid me in moments. No crown has ever made my pulse stutter. No empire has stirred the chaos you summon with a single breath. Somehow he leaned in even closer, pressed his nose into my hair, and drew in a deep, greedy breath. The hunger I never prepared for. The ache that mocks me. Even the throne means nothing now, unless you're beside it, or beneath me. He repositioned, his focus narrowing to the look on my face. Tell me, land dweller, how? He whispered, rough and raw. How did you hear my heart? His gaze flared, wounded, disbelieving. You're not of the sea. You're not one of us. And still. He leaned closer again, his breath brushing my lips like heat off a flame. What spell did you whisper into me that makes me want to have you this much? His grip suddenly tightened, and I cried out, flinching from the burst of pain. Something flickered in his eyes, sharp and fleeting, and then his hand released me. The ache lingered, pulsing beneath my skin. I was made to conquer, he said, almost to himself. Not to ache. Then he looked at me again, really looked, like he couldn't comprehend the weakness blooming in his chest. And yet here I am, consumed, by a fragile little thing that shrinks from my touch. He moved closer still somehow, the shadows behind him shifting like smoke. My brother may have found you first, he murmured, voice dropping to a hiss, but it means nothing. He leaned in. I have you now, in my grasp, and tonight, there will be no chant to save me from the torment of you, your presence wrapped around me like a fevered dream. My stomach twisted at his words, intimate, worshipful. What flickered in his eyes then made me flinch. Why did his eyes hold longing instead of bloodlust? How could someone so ruthless, so cold, stare at me like he was drowning and I was air? After what he had done to Dala, he was evil. Let go of me, I tried to shout, but the words came out fractured, my voice trembling, cracking under the weight of panic. A sudden wail cut through the cave, sharp, piercing. Nhyira. Her cry shattered whatever trance had wrapped itself around him. The sound struck me like a slap, snapping my head toward her. She writhed in his arm, her tiny face twisted in distress, arms reaching, always reaching, for me. I lurched forward, forgetting everything, his strength, my fear, the impossible heat still radiating from him. Give her to me, I choked out, voice hoarse, eyes locked on her and nothing else, but his hand didn't move, not even a little. He just stared, watching me scramble, watching me fail, and held her tighter. He blinked, looked down at her, expression unreadable, then back at me. So, it's true then, he murmured. She's bonded to you. His head tilted. His eyes searched my face for something. Then he seemed to find it. And you... to her. He glanced between us, the faintest trace of amusement curling his lips. But then, his gaze settled on me again, fixed, unyielding. Strange, he murmured. You're undeniably exquisite. But human? His brow dipped in faint puzzlement. Kweku never had a taste for fragile things. His gaze flicked toward Nhyira. How is it you kept his daughter alive? He fell quiet, eyes retuning to mine, as if studying a riddle carved into my skin. Then, with a small dismissive shrug, he let it go. No matter. It served its purpose. Keeping her alive gave me time. My fists clenched at my sides. Kweku, he'll come for us. He laughed, soft, cold. Kweku always believed he could outwit me, yet I have you both. His gaze swept over me again, and it wasn't just observation, it was evaluation. I felt myself being measured, broken into parts, appraised like a possession. My skin crawled, Then, without looking away, he reached behind him and pulled something out, something glowing, something wrong. A pulsing orb. It pulsed in his hand, dark as oil, yet lit from within, alive in some unnatural way. My blood turned to ice. Kweku's warning, an artifact that steals essence, steals aqualith. His gaze slid to Nhyira. "No, don't!" I lunged forward. "You don't have to do this," I said, my voice barely more than breath, raw from salt and fear. He glanced at me, unbothered. "Do what?" My legs were shaking. "That thing. It destroys. It kills. Dax, please," I begged, my voice cracking as the words forced their way through my throat. "You'll kill her." He didn't blink, just looked at me, as if the panic in my voice was something curious, almost amusing. Then slowly, something shifted behind his eyes. "Is that what he told you?" he asked, voice low, deceptively calm. "That I'm a monster? That I killed Dala?" I froze. My heart seized. He saw it. He exhaled, slow and deliberate. "She resisted. That's all. I didn't mean to hurt her. I only wanted her cooperation." The words landed like a slap. Cooperation. He spoke it as if it was reasonable, as if resistance itself had justified the violence, as if her pain had somehow been a choice. "If there's blame to cast," he added, lifting his chin, "it belongs to her." The air in the cave turned colder, or maybe it was me. I couldn't feel my fingers. Then he said it, softly, almost as though it brought him pride. "But I've improved. I've refined the process. My brother's seed will live, if only changed." He turned back toward me, and there was no hatred in his eyes, only possession. "And you, dear Ama," he murmured, stepping closer, "you will remain here, not for Kweku, for me." My breath stopped short. What do you mean?" His face was grave, almost gentle. "You will never return to that land you call home. This cave will henceforth be your dwelling," he continued, as if making an announcement. "I'll expand it, keep the tide out, ensure your comfort." I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The word dwelling echoed through my skull like a prison sentence. He was serious. This cave, this cold, lifeless hole above the sea, was to be my world, my walls, my sky, my tomb. I saw myself trapped here, seasons passing, my voice swallowed by stone, my life reduced to salt and silence, and worst of all, Nhyira, still in his grip, still cradled like some prize he had yet to shatter. "I'll keep you," he said again. "For as long as your fragile life lasts, you will be mine." "No!" Something broke loose inside me, a scream, a sob, a protest. I didn't know what it was, only that it burned as it rose in my throat, but I didn't get to release it, because he turned, slowly, bringing the glowing artifact closer to Nhyira. She whimpered softly in his arms. I lunged forward, voice cracking. "You're her uncle." My hands trembled so badly I could barely hold them up. "She's just a baby. Please, don't." He didn't flinch. "She's a vessel," he said flatly. Then, after a beat, his voice shifted. Quiet, certain. A key. My stomach twisted into knots. Nhyira whimpered again, soft, helpless. Her cry echoed against the cave walls, too small for a place so heavy with threat. "You have nothing to worry about," Dax murmured. "I'll let her go, after I take what's mine." A sudden ripple stirred the water behind him. I tensed, every nerve straining. Something was coming. Then, like a specter rising from the deep, she appeared. Merina. Her form emerged with a grace that felt rehearsed, unnatural. Water streamed from her skin in glistening ribbons, cascading like pearls down her arms and shoulders. She looked untouched by the cold, untouched by anything. Her gaze met mine, and I froze. She didn't see me. She saw through me, as if I were an inconvenience, An afterthought. A mistake on the page she intended to rewrite. My breath caught. Dax's voice cut through the silence like a knife dipped in oil. I asked her to give you an apology for the other night. His eyes flicked toward me, lazy with contempt. But she's stubborn. He reached for her, curling his fingers around her wrist with slow, possessive ease, and pulled her toward the stone. My blood ran cold. Not enemies, not strangers, friends. The realization slammed into me with more force than the stone wall ever had. My mouth went dry. My hands went numb. They were working together. This wasn't a random encounter. This was planned, calculated, 2 against 1. And Merina, she'd already tried to kill me, but now she was smiling. Not viciously, not with hate. With a strange, almost giddy calm, like this was some game she'd been waiting to win. I stumbled backward, shaking my head. No, what is this? What are you doing? She won't hurt you, Dax said smoothly, like it was nothing. She's not here for you. His gaze drifted to Nhyira. She's here for the power, and I've promised her a share of it. Your prince has disappointed us both. I couldn't breathe. You're going to split Nhyira's aqualith? I have guarded our young princess since the beginning. I should have been his new mate. I should be her mother, Merina said. The venom in her voice sent a chill crawling up my spine. She thought he would choose better, Dax added, eyes glittering. But then, instead, Kweku chose you. It's embarrassing, really. I stared at them, Merina's smug poise, Dax's burning gaze, and felt the cave tighten around me like a trap. Nhyira let out another tiny cry, and I knew. They weren't bluffing. This wasn't a threat. They were really going to do this. Dax brought the artifact closer to Nhyira. A low hum stirred the air, faint at first, then rising. A vibration deep in my bones. My skin prickled. Something was wrong. And then it blazed. Light erupted from the artifact with a force that felt alive, brilliant, violent. The glow wasn't beautiful. It was terrifying. White gold and laced with shadow, pulsing like it was drawing breath. The cave walls lit up in frantic flashes, every corner stretched with unnatural light. Dax flinched, actually flinched. His expression shifted, at first surprise, then alarm. He staggered back, holding the artifact away from his body like it might explode. This can't be right, he muttered, frowning hard at the glow. Is it broken? The humming deepened into a resonant thrum that shook the stone under us. Dax's eyes darted to the baby. Dala's aqualith didn't burn like this, he said sharply, like he couldn't make sense of it. Not even close. He looked at Nhyira again, and this time something different flashed in his eyes. Awe, terror, possession. So much power, he gasped almost reverently, inside something so small. Nhyira? His voice faltered as if the name itself now meant something else entirely. Merina, he barked. Explain this. She jerked, startled by the sound, and slithered forward quickly. But even she couldn't hide the fear on her face. Her pupils narrowed, her features twisted in disbelief as she stared at the glowing artifact in his hands. Her lips parted, but no words came. She was gawking, horrified. I tested her with it, Dax, she stammered. Just like you asked. I used the artifact. There was power, yes, but nothing like this. She moved closer, eyes wide. That's not possible. This amount of energy. She didn't show this before. Dax's gaze stayed fixed on Nhyira, the artifact still blazing like a star between them. Far more than we believed, he whispered, as if to himself. Far more. Then his expression hardened. His grip on the artifact tightened. She could almost make me a god. He said it with quiet hunger. Through her, I can take back everything that was stolen from me. The air around us vibrated, thick, charged, unbreathable. Nyr stirred weakly, but Dax no longer looked at her. Slowly, both he and Merina turned and locked their gaze on me. Dax studied me with a sharpness I hadn't seen before. Something was dawning behind his eyes, something dangerous. "No mer child holds this much aqualith," he murmured, voice almost thoughtful. "Unless her mother," he paused, tilted his head, "is powerful, immensely powerful." He floated toward me, measured, predatory. "I thought Kweku chose you for your exotic disposition," he mused. "But maybe it was something more." My pulse pounded. Kweku hadn't been sure if Dax suspected I carried aqualith, but if he did, would he tear it from me the way he would take it from Nhyira? Would he press that glowing artifact to my chest until it hollowed me out? Dala didn't survive. And now, Dax was weighing the same decision. I saw it in his eyes, the calculation, the hunger, and if the scales tipped even slightly in my direction, I wouldn't survive it, not intact, not as myself. My breath stuttered, my back hit the stone wall as if I could somehow press myself out of sight, out of reach, out of question. "It can't be," Merina said, slicing through the silence. Her eyes never left me. "She's human, just land flesh, frail, breakable." "Humans can't hold aqualith," she scoffed, as though the idea itself was offensive. But Dax said nothing. He floated closer. The cave closed in behind me, stone at my back, cold and unyielding. My breath caught, my spine locked as his shadow slid across the walls and over me. He raised the artifact, slowly, reverent, searching, his eyes wide, waiting. I didn't breathe. The artifact hovered near my chest, and nothing. No flicker, no glow, no answering hum. Dead, as if it had never lived. Dax stared, then looked at me. His expression twisted, first confusion, then disappointment. He scoffed, lowering it with a mutter. "Empty." "She's nothing," Merina said flatly, brushing past me with her eyes. Their focus shifted, to Nhyira. "We have what we came for," Merina said coolly. "The child has more than enough power. Let's go, Dax." Dax gave me one final glance, his eyes bitter with resentment, as though I had wasted his time. "No," I breathed, lunging forward. My hand trembled. "Don't, please." But he didn't hear me, or didn't care. With Nhyira still in his grasp, he turned toward the water. Merina slithered beside him, triumphant. "You may watch, if you like," Dax said over his shoulder, his voice gleaming with cruel amusement. "Come see, land dweller. All it takes is a kiss to share my essence." My stomach clenched. A kiss. As if what he meant to do to Nhyira wasn't something vile and repulsive. I would never. The thought snagged in my throat, too repulsive to finish. "Don't!" I cried out, voice cracking as I saw him sinking now into the sea. "Dax, please, don't take her under." He only laughed. Then, with one final glance, said coldly, "Try to stay put. I'll be back for you, once we're done." And with that, he disappeared beneath the water, Nhyira in his arms, Merina beside him, leaving nothing behind but the sound of my heart tearing in my chest.
I lunged after them, blind, frantic, my body crashing into the water. The cold struck like a slap, knocking the breath from my lungs, but I fought forward. The sea was vicious, violent. Waves battered me from every side, but I dove beneath them, limbs burning, heart hammering. I chased flickering shadows through the black, a blur of motion just beyond reach. For a heartbeat, I saw them. Merina's serpentine shimmer, Dax's massive form, and Nhyira, tiny, limp, trapped in his grasp. Then, gone. Swallowed whole by the sea. I broke the surface, gasping, coughing, my scream ripped apart by the roar of crashing waves. "No! No, please! Don't take her!" The water thrashed like a living thing. I dove again and again, each time deeper, each time slower, my lungs raw, my body begging for air. Too shallow, too late. They were gone. She was gone. Jagged stone tore at my leg as I kicked, pain flaring, but I didn't stop. Every time I surfaced, the waves hurled me back, merciless, unrelenting. Salt scorched my throat, burned my eyes. I clawed for the cave's edge, slipping on stones slick with seawater. My fingers found hold. I heaved, collapsed. Coughs racked my chest. Tears blurred with the salt on my face. The tide was rising. The cave, shrinking. Panic coiled tight in my ribs like a noose. "Kweku," I gasped. "Please, please." Silence. Only the water. Only the sea. I slumped sideways, curling in on myself, face in my hands as the sobs took over. He took her. He took her, Nhyira, gone, into the endless, merciless dark. The water still hissed and surged below, mocking me with every wave. I could still hear her last cry in my ears, feel the warmth of her tiny body in my arms. And now, cold, empty. I would never find her. I would never reach her. The ocean was too vast, too cruel. I couldn't breathe beneath it. I couldn't even begin to fight it. I choked on another sob, my fingers digging into my scalp. "I can't," I whispered. "I can't reach her. I can't. I can't." But even as I said it, something snapped. A memory surged, her eyes, her laugh, her fragile hand curling around my finger, the way she quieted when I held her, the way she looked for me when frightened, as if I were safety, as if I were home. She was mine. Not by blood, but by fate and by love, and I would not lose her. Not to the ocean, not to Dax, not to anyone. Something in me rose, slow and terrible, like a tide long held back, now breaking free. I lifted my head, breath ragged, and felt it, a pulse inside me, deep and ancient. Heat raced through my veins like lightning turned liquid. The cave around me shimmered, the air cracked, and then the water lit from beneath, glowing in eerie phosphorescent blues and silvers. The stones trembled faintly, and my body, it felt lighter, warmer, yet stronger, alive in a way it had never been before. I stared down at my trembling hands. They glowed, not brightly, but enough to know I hadn't lost her, I wouldn't lose her. Because whatever it took, whatever it cost, I would go after her, and this time the sea would answer to me.
My breath stilled. Then I stood. The motion felt unfamiliar, weightless, like stepping into a new skin. The air pressed differently around me, charged and watchful, as though the sea itself was holding its breath. My feet edged closer to the lip of the cave, where the water still churned, its depths unknown, furious and endless. Somewhere beneath those waves, she was still there, Nhyira. My chest ached with the thought of her alone in that abyss, surrounded by hands that would never hold her gently. And suddenly, the fear that had ruled me shattered like glass beneath my heels. I closed my eyes and breathed, not through lungs, but through the pulse that had awakened inside me. The glow deepened. A slow, reverent blue bloomed from my chest, trailing down my arms and pooling in my fingers like threads of starlight. My clothes clung to my skin, soaked and humming with energy, as though it too had been reborn. The cave walls pulsed with light in response, ripples of silver echoing outward from where I stood. The sea, it stirred, it listened, it waited, and for the first time I felt it truly. The way a flame feels oxygen, the way a tide feels the moon. The sea knew me. I stepped to the edge, the glow of the water kissing my feet, and then I dove, straight into the rapid waves. But this time, the ocean didn't resist me. It opened, it welcomed, it carried me. Water should have filled my lungs. But it didn't. I moved deeper, faster, stronger than I ever thought possible. My limbs sliced through the tide like they belonged there. And the deeper I went, the more the light around me grew. twining, swirling, pulling from me, and pushing me onward. I'm coming, Nhyira. Hold on.